Hello and welcome to another video from Top Learners. Today we want to cover the simple future tense, one of the most important tenses in English language. So before we start, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, Top Learners. Okay, let's get started. Simple future tense. You think about simple future tense as its name says. Simple future tense is used for those actions that will happen in the future. So there are two patterns to make simple future or future tenses. One of them is will. So for any action that will happen in the future and we know about the time, or that will be completed in the future at a specific time or clear time, we use simple future tense. So for simple future there are two verb forms. There are two ways, as I mentioned before. So one of them is will and the next one is be going to. So the helping verbs can be will or be going to. So one way is to use will plus verb 1, and next way is to use be going to plus verb 1. The structures for simple future, and by using will, of course, here is the subject, will, verb 1 and complement. In this structure, will is the helping verb and verb 1 is the main verb in our sentence. So we always use the base form of the verb in simple future tense. To make it negative, we can add the adverb not after will. We can say subject, will, not, verb 1 and complement. So sometimes you may have heard that will and not get together and they can be pronounced won't. To make question, we bring will or the helping verb first, as you know the rule, and then we use subject, verb, the base form and complement. To make negative interrogative, we add not after the subject, will, subject, not, verb 1 and complement. If you want to ask more information, if you want to get information about something that will happen in the future, you can use WH questions or information questions. You can use the WH word at the beginning. WH words are when, why, where, how, who, and so on. So then you can use the structure will, subject, verb 1 and complement. If you want to know about the door of an action in the future, or you want to know who will do an action, so you can use the structure of who as the subject. Who, will, verb 1 and complement. But if you have a receiver of an action and that receiver is a person or a human, in that case you can say, you can ask the question who as the object. And the structure of who as the object is exactly like WH question or information question. We just mentioned the who instead of WH word, other WH words. So the examples, like in the affirmative or positive, we have Tom will call Shams tomorrow. So here we mentioned the time expression tomorrow. And we have the negative sentences. For making negative, as I said, we can say will not, or we can say the short form of them, won't. He won't come to the party. And for making question, we bring the helping verb will at the beginning of the sentence. Will he play football? Here I'm really sorry, it should be next week. It's incorrect. We should not say last week, you should say next week. And if you want to make it negative interrogative, you can say will he not study hard? So we add not after the subject. For information question, I use WH word at the beginning, like when, and then we can use other structure. When will he go to India? Why will he go to India? How will he go to India? And so on. So if I want to know about the door of an action in the future, I use who as the subject, who will call John. And if you want to know about the receiver of an action in the future, or who as the object, you can use this structure, who will you help at home. So one thing which is very clear, if you ask about who as the object, we have the subject already. Don't forget that we use will for offers that we have for people, for our promises, for decisions or sudden decision, the decision that we make it now, and for probabilities. There are some time expressions for future, like you can use tomorrow, it's not always about tomorrow. It can be about any other time in the future. Like we can say next night, next week, next year, and next week, and so on. So we also have something like later, like a few minutes later, 4 hours later, 3 months later, 20 years later, and so on. Oh, again, there is a big mistake here. It might be in 2025. It's incorrect, okay? And not in 2010, in 2025. And also, we can say it's done. World War II is past. We should say in World War III, for example. So, thank you very much. And we will start be going to now. The next way that we can talk about future is using the word be going to, and you know, the definition is the same as simple future, and yeah, it talks about future and these things. But one thing else that I want to clarify when we say be going to, this be actually is MR. It means we do not use be itself. We use a form of that be, which are is, am, and are. We use is for third person singular subjects like he, she, it, or any other singular nouns. We use am only for the subject I, and we use are for the plural subjects like we, you, they, and any other plural nouns. The structures for be going to is here. We use a subject, and then we use a helping verb be going to here, and then we use verb 1 in complement. And all of them we use the first form of the verb in all the structures. To make negative, okay, one thing is again that be is, don't forget that be is MR, okay? And to make negative we add not after to be, after is, after am, or after are actually. Subject be not going to, verb 1 and complement. For making question we bring that to be verb at the beginning, is, am, are at the beginning, and then we use subject going to, verb 1 and complement. To make negative interrogative, easily we put not after the subject here, and we put not, be, subject, not, going to, verb 1 and complement. For asking more information or asking WH questions, we use WH word. So again, I want to repeat, WH words are what, when, why, where, how, which, and so on. We use a WH word, then be is a more actually, subject going to, verb 1 and complement. If you want to ask about who, the doer of an action, so you can easily use who, then be going to, then verb 1 and complement. Mostly the people, when they're not sure if the doer of an action is singular or plural, they use is. So mostly who's going to is used. And if you want to know about the receiver of an action in the future, who was the object, so you can use this structure, who, then be. This be really is about subject. It means if the subject is he, she, it, so we use is. If the subject is I, we use am. If the subject is we, you, they, or any other plural nouns, we use are here. Then going to, verb 1 and complement. Let's see the examples. Oh yeah, you can see the first example for positive or affirmative. Tom is going to call Shams tomorrow. So here is a be, so here is a to be verb. Is used for Tom because Tom is a third person singular noun. So Tom is going to call Shams tomorrow. If you want to make it negative, you can add not after the to be verb is, or am, or are. You can easily say he isn't going to come to the party. So going here doesn't mean going to anywhere. It doesn't mean to move from one place to another place. Going here has the same meaning like well, and it talks about something in the future. And to make question, we add we bring the to be verb at the beginning. Is he going to play football next week? If you want to make it negative interrogative, we just add not after the subject. Is he not going to study hard? If you want to know about the time, the way, and the action that person will do in the future, or about any other information, use WH question. When, why, where, how, and so on. So when is he going to go to India? See, this go means moving from one place to another place. This is the main verb here. But this going to does not mean moving. Okay, who is the subject who's going to call John? So I want to know about the doer of an action. If you want to know about the receiver, you can use this, who, then a to be verb. So why did we use are? It's all because of this subject. The subject is you, and we use are for you. Who are you going to teach tomorrow? So when do we use to be verb? Sorry, be going to. We use be going to show our plans or predictions based on evidence. So when we say plan and be going to, this is a plan that we already made, that, or a decision which is already made. Thank you very much. And sometimes we can use the time expressions if the listener doesn't know about the time, like, you know, tomorrow, next night, next week, next month, and so on. Oh my God! See you in 2030. Oh. Thank you very much. This was today's lesson.